Many TOEFL candidates lose points in the email task, not because they can't write in English, but because they are not prepared for the topics that come up. Here's the truth. Certain themes often come up again and again. If you prepare vocabulary, grammar structures, and key ideas for these topics in advance, you can be in a much stronger position on test day. We've helped thousands of students prepare this way through our TOEFL packages. With clear steps and strategic preparation, they've turned confusion into confidence. In this video, we'll go through 10 TOEFL email task topics. You will get useful vocabulary and sample phrases for each one. By the end, you'll know what to prepare for the email task. Let's get started! Topic number 1 is reporting a problem with campus facilities. In this type of task, you are given a scenario involving a problem at your university. Your goal is to communicate the issue clearly and request action. That purpose might be reporting a broken piece of equipment or describing a safety concern. It might also be explaining a maintenance issue that is affecting your daily life. To write a high-scoring response, you need to describe the problem in specific detail. You should also explain how it is affecting you and request that something be done about it. Vague descriptions like, "there is a problem," will not score well. Instead, use precise language that shows you can communicate clearly in a formal and polished way. Here is some useful vocabulary for this topic. Maintenance issue. Affecting my ability to. I am writing to report. I would appreciate it if this could be resolved as soon as possible. For grammar, practice using present perfect tenses to explain how long the problem has been going on. For example, you can write, "The heating system in my apartment has not been working properly for the past week, and the temperature inside has been consistently cold, despite my attempts to adjust the thermostat." You can also use result clauses to explain the impact of the problem. For example, "The situation has made it difficult to study effectively, as the noise from the construction work starts early in the morning and lasts throughout the day." Strong responses explain both the problem and its consequences clearly and in detail. The second topic is making a request or asking for permission. In these tasks, you need to explain a situation that requires special approval. You must make your request clearly and give a good reason for it. That purpose might be asking to reschedule an exam or requesting an extension on an assignment. It might also be asking to be absent from a class for an important reason. High-scoring responses in this category are polite, well-structured, and specific. Explain your situation clearly. Additionally, show that you understand you are asking for something that requires the other person's consideration. Here is some key vocabulary for this topic. I am writing to request. I would be grateful if you could. Due to. I would like to ask whether it would be possible to. I look forward to your response. For grammar, practice using modal verbs to make polite requests. For example, I would be very grateful if you could allow me to submit the assignment one day late, as I have been dealing with a medical issue this week. You can also use conditional sentences to show flexibility. You could write, "If it would be possible to reschedule the exam, I would be happy to take it at whatever time works best for you." These structures help your email sound polished and courteous. Topic number 3 is complaining about a service or situation. These tasks ask you to express dissatisfaction with something, explain why it is a problem, and request that action be taken. For example, you might be writing to complain about noise in a dormitory or to report poor service at a campus department. In other cases, you could be expressing concern about a policy that is affecting students. The key to scoring well on this topic is to be clear and polished. Do not sound rude or emotional. Instead, present the facts, explain the impact, and request a specific solution. Here is some useful vocabulary for this topic. I'm writing to express my concern about this situation has been affecting. I would like to request. I hope this matter can be resolved promptly. For grammar, use past and present tenses together to show that the problem has been ongoing. You can write, the noise from the nearby renovation work began 2 weeks ago and has continued every morning since then, making it difficult to sleep before my early classes. You can also use contrast structures to keep a balanced tone. While I understand that construction projects are sometimes necessary, I believe it would be reasonable to limit the working hours to a time that does not interfere with students' sleep and study schedules. This kind of structure shows that you can express a complaint respectfully. Social conventions refer to how well your email follows the expected rules of politeness, register, and tone for the given situation. This approach can help you score higher in the social conventions category. Here is another topic: thanking someone for help or support. In these tasks, you write to a person, such as a friend, classmate, or professor, to express gratitude for something they did for you. You could be writing to thank a classmate for covering your shift, or to express appreciation to a professor for their support during a difficult semester. In some cases, you might be acknowledging a friend who helped you get through a challenging time. Although this type of email may seem simple, high-scoring responses go beyond just saying thank you. They give specific details about what the person did and explain how it made a difference. They also often offer something in return or express a desire to return the favor. Here is some key vocabulary for this topic. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for. Your support meant a great deal to me. I truly appreciate. I hope I can return the favor someday. For grammar, use past tenses to describe what happened and what the person did. For example, when I was struggling to understand the material before the exam, you took the time to sit down with me and explain the concepts clearly, and that made a real difference to my performance. You can also use present perfect tenses to connect the past event to a current feeling. For example, I've been meaning to write to you ever since the exam results came back, because I believe your help was a big part of why I did so well. These details make the email feel natural and well-developed. Now, here is an important point. Many TOEFL candidates think that knowing a few writing topics is enough to achieve a strong result. But it is not enough. To do well in TOEFL writing, you need to understand what the examiner is looking for. For example, you need to use advanced grammar correctly and understand what makes a high-scoring answer. That's exactly what we teach in our TOEFL packages. Our students get step-by-step guidance on how to write strong answers, so they feel confident and ready on test day. They learn how the TOEFL examiners assess their performance and what they need to do to meet the scoring criteria. Our TOEFL packages include lessons for all tasks, sample answers, templates, practice tests, and much more. If you're serious about achieving the TOEFL score you need, click the link below to learn more. Topic number 5 is writing about a housing or accommodation issue. It usually involves writing to a housing office, a residence hall manager, or a landlord. Common scenarios include reporting a broken appliance or describing a problem with a shared facility. You might also find yourself explaining a situation that makes your accommodation uncomfortable to live in. These tasks require you to be specific about what the problem is and how long it has been going on. You must also explain the effect it is having on your daily life. Responses that lack detail will not score well. Here is some useful vocabulary for this topic. I am contacting you regarding a problem in my apartment. The issue has been ongoing for. This has made it difficult to. I would appreciate it if this could be attended to as soon as possible. For grammar, use the present perfect continuous tense to describe an ongoing problem. For example, The plumbing in my bathroom has been making a loud knocking sound for the past several days, and the noise is loud enough to wake me up at night. You can also use conditional sentences to request action politely. For example, if a maintenance technician could come to inspect the issue this week, I would be very grateful. Combining specific details with polite formal language can help you score higher on this topic. Let's move on to topic number 6, inviting someone or responding to an invitation. In these tasks, you write to a friend or classmate to invite them to an event or activity, or to respond to an invitation they sent you. Your purpose is social and informal. In some cases, you might need to invite a friend to a study group or suggest a weekend outing. In others, you might be responding to an invitation to a celebration or social event. The tone for this type of email is friendly and casual, so you do not need to use formal sentence structures. However, you should still write in complete sentences and make sure your email is well organized. The TOEFL examiner will still be assessing your grammar range and vocabulary, so do not fall into the habit of writing too simply. Here is some key vocabulary for this topic. I'd love it if you could join us. It would be great to see you there. I was wondering if you're free. Let me know if this works for you. For grammar, practice using modal verbs and question forms to make invitations sound natural. For example, I was wondering if you'd be free this Saturday to join a small study group we're putting together for the economics exam. It would be great to have you there. You can also use conditional sentences. You can write, if you're able to make it, I can send you all the details about where we're meeting and what time. These structures help your email sound natural and appropriate for an informal context. Topic number 7 is providing information or giving an explanation. In these tasks, you write to explain a situation, report on something that has happened, or give someone important details they need. You might be writing to a professor to explain a scheduling conflict. In other cases, you might write to a university department to provide information about your academic situation. These emails require clarity above all. The person reading your email needs to understand the situation quickly, so avoid vague or overly complicated sentences. Get to the point clearly and provide enough detail to make the situation easy to understand. Here is some useful vocabulary for this topic. I'm writing to inform you that I wanted to let you know about. The situation is as follows. Please find the details below. For grammar, use a variety of sentence structures to keep the email interesting while remaining clear. For example, you can write, I am writing to let you know that I will not be able to attend the group meeting on Thursday, as I have a scheduled appointment that conflicts with that time. You can also use relative clauses to add detail without making sentences too long. You could write, the appointment, which was arranged by my doctor several weeks ago, cannot easily be rescheduled. When you write clearly and use a variety of sentence structures, your email can score higher. By the way, if you want this channel to keep going, write yes in the comments, click like and subscribe. We only make videos that you actually want to watch. Another topic in the email task is offering advice or making a suggestion. In these tasks, you write to a friend or classmate who is dealing with a problem or facing a decision, and you offer helpful advice or ideas. This could mean writing to someone who is struggling to manage their workload, or explaining strategies to help a friend who is finding it hard to adjust to university life. It might also involve advising someone on how to approach a difficult personal situation. These tasks are informal, but they still require well-developed responses. Do not simply list a few pieces of advice. Instead, explain your reasoning, provide examples, and show that you have thought carefully about the other person's situation. Here is some key vocabulary for this topic. I think one thing that might help is you might want to consider based on my own experience. I hope this is useful. For grammar, use conditional sentences to frame your advice in a helpful and non-forceful way. For example, you can write, if you find it hard to stay focused during long study sessions, you might want to try breaking your work into shorter blocks with short breaks in between. I have found that it really helps with concentration. You can also use the present perfect tense to draw on your own experience. You can write, I've been in a similar situation before, and one thing that worked well for me was creating a weekly schedule so I could see what I needed to get done. This combination of personal experience and specific suggestions makes for a natural, high-scoring response. Topic number 9 is applying for a position or asking about an opportunity. In these tasks, you write to a supervisor, coordinator, or hiring manager to express interest in a job, internship, or work-study program. Your goal is to ask for more information about a position. You might also explain why you are interested or ask about the application process. These emails need to be formal in tone. Don't use casual language or contractions. The examiner is looking for appropriate social conventions, so the formality and structure of your email will affect your score. Here is some useful vocabulary for this topic. I am writing to express my interest in. I would like to inquire about. I believe I would be a strong candidate because. I would be grateful for the opportunity to discuss this further. For grammar, use present tenses to describe your current qualifications and past tenses to refer to your relevant experience. For example, I am currently in my second year of a degree in business administration, and I have previously worked as a student volunteer at the university's Career Center. You can also use modal verbs to express enthusiasm and interest, like, I would welcome the opportunity to contribute to your team and would be happy to provide any further information you may require. This kind of language demonstrates that you can write clearly with confidence and a polished tone. Topic number 10 is apologizing for a mistake or inconvenience. In these tasks, you need to acknowledge what happened, explain it briefly, express regret, and offer a solution or next step. The tone will depend on who you are writing to. If you are writing to a professor or campus administrator, your email should be formal. If you are writing to a friend or classmate, a warmer and more personal tone is appropriate. Regardless of the tone, the key to scoring well on apology emails is to be direct and take responsibility clearly. Do not spend too much time explaining excuses without acknowledging the impact on the other person. Here is some key vocabulary for this topic. I am writing to sincerely apologize for. I take full responsibility for. I understand that this may have caused inconvenience. I would like to make it up to you. For grammar, use past tenses to describe what happened and past perfect tenses to give background context. For example, you can write, I am writing to apologize for missing the group presentation yesterday. I had set an alarm for the wrong time, and by the time I realized my mistake, the session had already ended. You can also use conditional sentences to propose a solution. For example, if it would be helpful, I could prepare a short written summary of my contribution to the project and share it with the professor directly. Take ownership clearly and offer a concrete solution. That's it. These are 10 topics for the TOEFL email task. If you want expert guidance for your TOEFL preparation, check out our TOEFL packages using the link below. Our packages include step-by-step guidance, sample answers, templates, practice tests, and other useful resources to help you feel confident on test day. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their TOEFL score too. See you in the next video!